All right, I wanted to provide a status on the car and maybe a helpful hint or two. So it's mostly been the interior. Let's get in here. So I've been putting in the actuators for the door. You can see one over there. They all went really smooth except the driver's door, and we'll get into that in just a second. But I wanted to show where I'm at with the interior. I did the B pillars. I got new seat belts, so that's totally new webbing there. And then I did the C pillars. Of course, the headliner's done. Door panels, I used a SEM vinyl dye paint type thing until I figure out what I want to do with the door panels. I will do something eventually, but right now I just needed them to match, and I didn't know what to do. Back seat will be covered to match the front seat, of course. And then I used the SEM on the little box there, and I've never actually opened this first aid kit. It's pretty cool. I actually got the original. I'm assuming it's an original kit in here, so that kind of floored me a little bit. Got a kick out of that. Of course, it's pretty nasty because this is an Arizona car, so it's been sitting in the desert for quite a number of years. Okay, but pretty happy with the C panel. This one was completely trashed, and I built it up with fiberglass, and then I had to fiberglass in the clips on the back, but it turned out okay. I got kicker speakers on the way. Of course, I want to put an amp and a sub in here, but right now it just comes down to priorities. So I'm going to get the car running. I want to get it where it's a nice daily driver. And then I really want to put it on airbags before I waste the money on a stereo. So let's go talk about this this driver's side door. Okay, so I don't have a lot of room to zoom out here. But you can see where I mounted the actual actuator for the power doors. So it's going to come straight up. The problem is the driver's side door doesn't have this. It has a little solenoid here, vacuum actuated solenoid that'll lock and unlock. So I had to remove that. I went to the junkyard, got a passenger side, and then I just removed all the plastic pieces, flipped it around, and went ahead and installed it here. But I ran into a problem now because the driver's side door have to be outside and lock the door with the key. And at first I didn't realize that. I actually went to the junkyard, bought a whole nother door mechanism because I couldn't figure out what was wrong with my door. But the electric solenoid is going to try to actuate, and of course this isn't going to give, so you're going to bend your push rods up. And for the push rods, I'm using the standard Mercedes push rods. I drilled out my actuator to a little less than 1/4 of an inch to fit that thick push rod through there. But it will work just fine. So let me show you the fix for that. Alright, so here we have the door actuator, and it took me a while to figure this out. Alright, so if we actually goes like this, so on that door it would come and it would shut, right? The B pillar would be right here. And then the push rod for the lock unlock is right here. Connects right there. So I had to chase it down, and it finally occurred to me that it's this little pin right back in here is too long. So without that, I cannot lock and unlock the door at will, which is what I need to do. So the fix for that is I took my little air saw and fit it through here, and I just cut off the top of that, right? Because we still need this pin here, because it holds a spring underneath, and you probably can't tell that from the video, but there is actually a spring down in here. So you can't completely remove it, but now I can lock, I can unlock at will. So power door locks, and if I have a remote on it, which eventually I will, then I don't want to have to be on the outside with a key to lock it, because that just doesn't make sense. So that's the fix if you're ever going to go through this. Other than that, still waiting on my Auto Verde rods, my F-Tune springs, but I'll wrap up that driver's side door, and then I'm gonna have a few more holes to weld up in the firewall. Everything's pretty much wired except the dash lighting at this point. So I'm going to have to pull the wiring out from the front, take the fenders off, and I'm going to hide the wires under the top of the fenders on the inside, or I guess you'd call it the outside of the engine bay. And I want to pull them out anyways while I weld up the last 3 holes in the firewall so that I don't melt those wires. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Slower progress than I'd like, but it is progress. Have a great weekend.